All right, well, hello and welcome everyone. This is Rebecca Dallin, Assistant Superintendent for Stormwater Quality here at the City of Oklahoma City. I'd like to officially welcome everyone to the October edition of our 2022 monthly webinar series. We will begin the main presentation momentarily, so I wanted to provide some information to help enhance everyone's experience during the presentation today. In order to reduce background noise, we ask that everyone keep themselves muted during the presentation. If anyone has any questions, feel free to type them into chat anytime. I will be monitoring chat for questions, and we will have our guest speakers answer as many questions as we have time for today. If anyone would like to receive a certificate of attendance for today's webinar, please send me an email to request that, and I will put my email address into chat right now so you have it handy. Each of the presentations in this webinar series will be available within a week or so after the scheduled webinar date on our website under Stormwater Workshops. And the section where these webinars are posted is called the 2022 Webinar Series, and today's session, of course, is the October edition. I will post a link to that website where you can find those presentations toward the end of today's program. If anyone has any questions at this time, please feel free to type them into chat. But without further ado, I will begin the very short webinar series welcome presentation. Good afternoon and welcome to our monthly Stormwater Quality webinar series. We're excited to continue providing monthly opportunities so you can learn how to help keep our local waterways clean. Remember, we're all downstream from someone else, so we all need to work together to protect our waterways. During this series, you will have the opportunity to hear from some of our own stormwater quality staff as well as several guest speakers. This month's presentation will feature two guest speakers, Wayne T. Craney and Kimberly Douglas from the Department of Environmental Quality. They will be sharing information on the OKR10 permit reauthorization and everything you always wanted to know about stormwater construction enforcement. Should be interesting this month. The webinar series continues with additional topics from stormwater quality and a guest feature from Dr. Jamie Schuessler from Oklahoma State University in December. We hope to see you each month, so be sure to tune in. As we've briefly mentioned, each of the presentations will be available online within a week or so after the presentation is aired live. It will be available on the workshop section of our Stormwater Quality website. We'll post a direct link to that page into chat toward the end of today's program. We have added several Lunch and Learn events this year. We recorded each session, and if anyone would like to review any of those recordings, please check out our website at www.okc.gov/SWQ and look for the workshops page. We will be posting that link into chat at the end of today's program. Some of the vendors who sponsored these events have new products and tools that you may not have heard of before, so please be sure to watch any of the presentations that you missed. You can learn something new which might help streamline your stormwater protection practices. And as always, anytime we provide information regarding specific vendors or products, it is not to be considered an endorsement. We provide the information to help you in your research to determine the best products and services that will benefit your own stormwater program. If you haven't signed up already, please do so now by pointing your phone's camera at the QR code for the newsletter or newsletters that you're interested in. The only way to sign up for either the construction or industrial training and education newsletters is via a direct website link or these QR codes. These options are both hidden in the email service site, GovDelivery. These two newsletters are the main way that we announce upcoming training, webinars, and focused topic workshops. Be sure to sign up. The quarterly newsletter is the third QR code, and it provides overall information about what we're up to. You can find this one on the GovDelivery website. If you've missed any of these codes, please be sure to send Rebecca an email and she'll send you the direct website links. Some of our presentations will be live and some will be pre-recorded. We do our best to provide as much detailed, accurate information as possible while also working with the presenter's strengths and their schedule. We live and work in a beautiful community here in Oklahoma City. For more information about stormwater, what we're up to, and local regulations, be sure to visit our website. Okay, well, up next is the main presentation for today's webinar. Today, we're going to hear from two guest speakers from the Department of Environmental Quality. Wayne T. Craney grew up in rural Shelby County, Iowa, and graduated from Walnut Community High School in 1958. Mr. Crenny received a BSCE degree from Iowa State University in 1962, an MSEE degree from Washington State University in 1969, and an MBA degree from Oklahoma City University in 1975. He served as a commissioned officer in the U.S. Public Health Service for 30 years, from 1963 to 1993, retiring in February of 93 with the rank of captain. Wayne joined the Oklahoma Department of Environmental Quality in June of 1993 as a professional environmental engineer. He worked in different programs in DEQ, including public water supply initially, and later in MUN and municipal and industrial wastewater enforcement, and stormwater from the time of delegation from EPA. Professional affiliations are ASCE, NSPE, OSPE, and Phi Kappa Phi Honorary. He is a member of the Order of the Knoll at Iowa State and of the Presidential Associates at Washington State, where he was endowed scholarships in the civil engineering departments of those land-grant universities. Wayne is a professional engineer in Iowa and Oklahoma. He was named Outstanding Engineer in Management by OSPE in 2007. He has CPSWQ and CISEC stormwater certifications from EnviroCert. Wayne is also a licensed lay minister in the AOK Synod of the ELCA. And we're also hearing from Kimberly Douglas. Kimberly grew up in Oklahoma and graduated from the University of Oklahoma in 2010. There, she interned at the DEQ in construction permitting and worked at the National Weather Center developing flood catalogs for early flood warning system development. She has been a municipal discharge permit writer for DEQ for over 10 years and became a professional engineer in April of 2021. In her free time, she is currently learning board game development, digital artwork, crocheting, and crafting items to start up a small online business. Welcome to both of our presenters. And at this time, Kimberly, if you would share your screen and begin your presentation.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Okay. There we go.
Perfect.
All right. As you all know, I am Kimberly Douglas from the intro. Wayne is a lot more impressive than I am. But we are going to be going over the OKR10 status, the current renewal status, and the timeline that most of it has already passed. We're also going to go a small amount over the online NOI submittals and the program that we're currently working with. And then we'll go over all the changes from the permit and the proposed changes. Here is the timeline. Our draft permit to the EPA was reviewed. It was sent in March, and it was asked for an extended in June, and it was completed at July. Our public notice, which was 30 days, and it was asking for comments, was done in July as well. And our final permit issuance date and response to comments was posted and sent out on September 16th. Our current OKR10 permit expired on the 17th, and our permit, the new permit, is now effective starting yesterday, October 18th. And our expected, for those of you doing renewals, our renewal NOI end date will be January 16th of 2023. This is our online application. We currently have a button available, as you can see here to the right, for our OKR05s. Soon we're hoping to have that available for you guys for the OKR10. Right now we are currently, we just have the fill-in PDFs available online with the OKR renewal, and we are also helping with outreach and training such as today. For those of you who have the OKR05, the deadline has passed. And I know we have not received many of them, so for those of you, please turn them in. If you have any questions or need help with these online submittals or would like to participate, you can contact Misty Johnson, and this is her email and her phone number. And I'll pause for a second in case anyone's writing down. Okay. And this is what the online submittal looks like. If you looked on the very bottom where I had lined under forms, that's where you'll click and we'll have one for the OKR10 eventually. And then you can fill it in there. Okay, I think. Okay, I'm just checking to make sure that wasn't a comment. This is our outline and the things that have been changed. This previous outline used to be in section 8. It is now in the front of the whole thing instead of being part of the back, because who wants to look up stuff from the back? Definition and acronyms, part 1. The aquatic resource of concern definition has been added, and it is added as defined a water body corridor which contains the habitat for federally listed by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services or state listed by the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation endangered or threatened aquatic species. We've also added a map on our website. And it looks like the one below, and more defined maps will be coming soon. And if you want to find the map that this is located, it is under the OKR10 website under construction, stormwater template, and additional information. And under the title additional information, you will find a link to this map. And this will help you a bit to find your location and see if you qualify for that area. Construction activities, the definition has been revised to add this small section. So it'll say now, this does not include the linear opening of a soil in a single line of 2 feet or less in width on sites that have not been previously disturbed, utilizing equipment that closes the opening as part of the equipment's normal operations by the closure of the sidewalls to the original configuration after passage. That has been added. Stabilization definition has been revised for clarification, however, has not been changed. Part 2. This was previously part 1, and it is now part 2. Oh no. Oh, okay, here we go. 2.1, eligibility. This has just been edited for clarification, but nothing has been added. 2.2, part B. Authorization, non-stormwater discharges. These discharges that have been grouped together before, they were pretty fairly spread apart throughout the section, and so similar discharges are now grouped together to make it a bit easier to understand. And it's been updated for consistency just to look like our typical OPDES permits. 2.2C, conditions for authorization of non-stormwater discharges. Again, this has just been updated to be consistent with our other OPDES permits so that it looks similar. Historic preservation. Language has been added, and it was previously part 9. It is now in this section. Meeting eligibility requirements for endangered species. This has been added, and small clarifications in the language have been edited. And this used to be previously part 10, but it has not changed. Part 3. This is now its own section, and it used to have the rest of part 2 and some parts of part 3 from the previous permit. Responsibilities of ownership. This has been moved from 3.6, for those of you needing to know the exact location from the previous permit, and language has been added to clarify for responsibilities for various types of operations. So the primary operator is now responsible for developing an SWP3, submitting NOIs for all areas of the site, and overseeing SWP3 implementation. Secondary operators are responsible for implementing the SWP3 for their areas on the site. Utility installation operators are responsible for implementing the SWP3 for that site also. If you are a secondary operator and you no longer have the ability to have the primary operator, or they hand it down to someone else and they are no longer the primary. You are now the primary operator and resume those primary operator responsibilities. Obtaining authorization 3.2. SWP3s are no longer required to be submitted with your NOIs. We will only be required if we request them, and that it will most likely be after you send in your NOI. And that's usually only if we have very specific questions. High priority construction sites 3.3. High priority construction sites are 40 acres or greater if they discharge to a water within 1 mile impaired for turbidity or sediment, or located in an ARC, an ORW, or a water with an approved TMDL. Deadlines for notifications. New sites, new submittals for NOIs must submit at least 14 days prior to earth disturbance activities, while existing NOIs who are just looking for a renewal have 90 days after the effective date, which was October 18th. So the end date for those of you needing to do a renewal is January 16th, 2023. Now, where to submit? You can either submit by mail, email, fax, or online. NOI development for our online submittal tool will hopefully be launching soon. We have our fingers crossed that it will be available very soon, and you'll see it in a big red button just like the OKR05 is. Part 4, which was previously the rest of Part 3 and some of Part 4. Design, installation, and maintenance requirements. This has not been changed. However, it has been reorganized to be more stabilized so that it flows a bit better when you read it. 4.2, Part B. Provide and maintain natural buffers and equivalent sediment and erosion controls. We've incorporated language from the addendums to clarify the requirements. We've also added this table right here to clarify between standard and high priority sites. And I will pause it for just a second if anyone would like to either take a shot of their page or take a note. And thank you. Installing sediment basins. We've incorporated language from Part 4 of the previous permit, which is the contents of the SWP3, and we've just reorganized it. It has not been changed, however. But we've also clarified when sediment basins are required. They are required when draining a common area of 10 or more disturbed acres, or 5 or more disturbed acres of high priority sites. Stabilization 4.3. We've incorporated language from definitions to differentiate between temporary and final stabilization, and it has just been reorganized. We've also clarified options for vegetation for you guys and non-vegetation stabilization. Pollution prevention. The language has not been changed, however, it has been reorganized and clarified for easier flow of reading. We've also just rearranged it to look like our normal OPDES permits, so it's a little bit more standard across the board. Water quality-based effluent for high priority construction sites. The title has been revised and the language has just been reorganized, but nothing has changed. And we've also added that table that you saw previously about high priority sites versus standard sites. Part 5. This was previously the rest of Part 4. Content of the SWP3. Language has been added to address the information that must be maintained for high priority construction sites. 5.4. Inspection requirements. This is now a separate section whenever it used to be part of another section. That way it's easier for you guys to find. Clarification has been done to clarify between standard and high priority sites. And we've also added requirements to inspect areas with support activities, for instance, a concrete batch plan. Corrective action requirements 5.5. This is now just a separate section on its own, but none of the language has been changed. Parts 6, 7, and 8, these are now parts 5, 6, and 7. They have only been revised to look more like our OPDES permits, but they have not changed. Addendas. These have been completely, the forms have been removed completely, and they are now separate. This allows us to change things in the application that we find would be easier for you guys. But everything is actually available online currently under the new permit, just as a separate link from the fact sheet or the permit itself. The remaining addenda is now just been reorganized as A through F. Addendum A and B have just had minor updates and corrections. Addendum C, additional requirements for supporting activities. Some requirements have been moved to the main body of the permit in parts 4 and 5. Addendum C, buffering requirements, it's just been reorganized with some minor updates and corrections, and we have added the table that is also in previously part 4 to verify between the standard and high priority sites. Addendum E, stormwater runoff coefficient. No substantial changes have been done. However, it's just been reorganized slightly. And addendum F, which is new, and it's just the table that summarizes from that table. Oh, good grief. The table summarized the effluent limitations from part 4. And that's all I have. Do I have any questions that anyone would like to go through?
I don't see any questions in chat yet, but of course, if anyone would like to put any questions in, feel free to do so. Great presentation.
Good. And I guess now you guys are ready for Wayne.
Okay, thank you, Kim. I'll do the trailer to this, and it's everything almost you need to know about stormwater enforcement, but we're too afraid to ask. And it's kind of like a lightning round because we're going to go through this with the time we have pretty quickly. Alpha. We got delegation from EPA of MPDS in November 1996, and EPA delegated that to us after a series of things that we had to do. That was part of the reason that DEQ was formed at the time it was one of the reasons to get delegation. We already had it in drinking water and have had for a long time. And it was also for citizen complaints for a greater response. And so that was the MPDS delegation of the National Point Discharge Elimination System. Then the following year, in September 1997, we got stormwater and pre-treatment delegation, which completed all of the things under MPDES. And so this is the 25th anniversary of that delegation to the state of Oklahoma. And so I think that's deserving of some celebration and acknowledgement of what we've done. When we first got that, there were phase 1 through December 1999, and that was as a result of a court case. And EPA said, well, we can't do all these things. And the judge said, what can you do? Well, we can do this by this time. And so that was set with the phase one. And after that time, which was a short time, then we went into phase two, and it went from 5 acres to 1 acre, or common plan of development. And in the phase two, the MS4 phase two followed. And we had, of course, Tulsa and Oklahoma City that already had phase one MS4 permits that had been issued by EPA. Bravo. Stormwater enforcement. Well, what we want is we want compliance with the regs for environmental protection and for protection of public health. And so that's really what we're after. And compliance assistance is our preferred method. That's technical assistance, if you will. And we do that by various methods, and we'll talk about some of those later in this presentation. But of course, we don't always get the response that we would like, and therefore environmental enforcement actions are needed. And we do those, and it's a progressive type of thing. And of course, due process is always a part of that through our legal section and environmental attorneys we have. And we have a really great working relationship with those folks now. Charlie. Stormwater enforcement and wastewater enforcement in general goes through this same type of scenario. We will do an initial inspection, preferably with the RP, responsible party, present, and we'll give them 14 days to comply. That's typical. There could be circumstances that it wouldn't allow that length of time, but 14 days to comply, and then a reinspection is made at that time, and that's usually done by our people who are in the county's environmental specialists. Noncompliance will result in an NOV, notice of violation, and that's the notification to the permit holder of violations that they have. Now, they can respond to the NOV, get things completed, take care of the violations, but if they don't, then continued noncompliance will require an enforcement action, which is typically a consent order. And there's also other things other instruments that we can use, an administrative compliance order, but we very, very seldom go to an ACO. There could be instances that would have circumstances requiring that, but typically a consent order, which is an agreed to type of thing that includes tasks, dates, and penalties. Quite often when we offer a consent order to an RP, they'll ask for a settlement conference. Now, they can ask for other things. They can ask for a hearing for the administrative law judge, and they can do that. But in a settlement conference, we talk about tasks, we talk about dates, and we talk about penalties. Again, they have the opportunity, there's due process. This is not like me trying as a private citizen dealing with the IRS. You don't get any of those things. They just, to give you what the requirements are, and you're pretty much stuck with that, or you can, go out on a limb and decide to fight, get your own attorney, get your own representation. So that's kind of how the enforcement things go. Delta. Ryan Hagan used to be one of our attorneys here, and he's in New York City now, and he works for Suez, and he's, I think, the general counsel for that group. But he referred quite often to this song, Tighten Up by Archie Bell and the Drills. You can go to YouTube, and I will say that we don't have anybody that has the moves that the Drills have on this, but you might find that interesting. So Tighten Up is what I've, used to describe what we're going to do. And we've talked quite a bit with legal and our enforcement meetings and the management here, and we've really had truly minimal escalated enforcement, meaning when we go to court, to administrative law judge or district court, or both, in the past 10 years. And so there has been minimal when we get to that point. And I think it's the desire. And if you looked at it just on the face of it, you would say, yeah, probably there should be more instances where the circumstances would justify that. So we're going to be tightening up with more escalated enforcement as we go through fiscal year 2023 that we're currently in and in subsequent years. And as a part of that, our DEQ inspectors and people like me that review documents and review situations with staff, we need to be more consistent and thorough. And that's always a good idea, because when you get into legal hearings, again, there's due process, there's opportunity for the RP to state your case and give their side of the situation. Echo. This is from a song. You don't need to be a weatherman to know which way the winds are blowing. That's from Bob Dylan. You remember, well, those of you that are old enough, like me, the Weather Underground, which is a resistance movement to the Vietnam War. And I kind of go back to a former life when I was nearly when I was mistaken for a Navy recruiter and nearly thrown off the campus at Northern Michigan at Houghton Hancock. I was there for a health-related conference, and they took me to be a Navy recruiter. That was an interesting time. And so we know that climate change is here. I mean, I'm not saying I believe in climate change and I'll try to convince everyone of that, but we've seen the extreme weather. We've seen it. We've experienced it. We've lived it. Now they're talking about the power grid again. In the that instance we had in the winter last year, the year before last year, and extreme weather, that's going to be the new normal, and we know that. And in design and other things, there needs to be resiliency, and that's just a consideration that we have to have and that we have to make. And we just know that that's the case. There will be extreme weather, will be more the norm. In those instances will be more, we're going to experience more of those things. And it's probably the entire amount. Yeah, will rain again. And there are probably some extreme circumstances when that starts happening. Foxtrot. I give this as a little mini case study, and I'm not going to tell you the name of the town, but I will give some descriptions, and you'll probably be able to figure out kind of what this was. But it's in the east part of the Oklahoma City Metro, and I do believe that the date of this storm was May 31st, 2013, because I went back and looked at this. And there was a site prep for a new Walmart in this community. And it was off of the business district, which is on Northeast 23rd Street, which ran through, and the business district is almost all along Northeast 23rd Street. And site prep was to cut back into a hill, just go back and just cut into the side of the hill. And we had indicated to the city, we had some dealings with them, that, that this was a problem waiting to happen. And we were told, it will go into the river. It will go into the river. Wrong. Like the McLaughlin report. Wrong. A 7-inch rainstorm, nearly 7 inches, came, and I believe it was May 31st, 2013. It was over that night and into the next morning. And this material really moved, and it was funny, kind of a granular stuff. It had clay, and it was mottled white and gray. And so we went out there the next day, and it was unbelievable the amount of this stuff that was in every box culvert, every tin horn. It gone into businesses along Northeast 23rd because of the water and the movement of this thing. It was all over the roads, all over the sidewalks, and most of the business district that was in the downstream part were covered with this material. It will go into the river. That's what the city engineer told us before. It'll go into the river. You know, some of them went into the river, but not very much. This was kind of like a catastrophe. I bet it took them the better part of a year to recover from that instance. Golf. So the why of stormwater. Now, stormwater is one word because EPA said it was one word. And so I was told by my former supervisor, and I've just stayed with that it's one word. It makes sense to me that it'd be two words, but that's what EPA says it is. So for consistency and everything, stormwater is one word. I'm just giving you a case study that the effects can be so pervasive. They're just all over. I mean, in that community, it was just kind of incredible. You'd have to see it to believe it. How impactful that discharge of those materials from that site was. And they had to go and clean it up, and they did. They wanted their own Walmart. You know why? Every community wants their own Walmart. You know why? For the sales taxes and everything. But when you look at stormwater, this isn't just something, okay, well, we're coming up with the program and we're doing these things. There's construction, there's industries, and there's from communities. Stormwater discharges are considered by EPA to be a point source discharge. That's how they come under NPDES. And so if you look at the cumulative effects across the country from construction, from industries, and from things in the MS4s in the runoffs, this is a major factor in the waste load that goes into the environment and goes into our streams and goes into our lakes around our communities. Hotel. Stormwater enforcement. We're driven primarily from citizen complaints. As I said, we were formed to take care of citizen complaints and respond to them. It's our number one priority. We have to do things within 90 days and have them closed by actual completion of things or resolved by offer of an order. We also get referrals. As we have less staff, the referrals are not as many as they used to be, but we still get referrals from other places, and it can be from communities or number of sources that we have. Also, routine inspection of permitted facilities. We have goals that our staff has in their performance evaluations. Environmental emergencies. We do get called out on some of these. ECLS, who are environmental specialists in the counties, handle most of those accidents and other environmental emergencies, discharges of hydrocarbons, those types of things. And then sometimes we do targeted inspections, which is a community or a category or things of that nature. India. Qualified inspector. That has been, I think, discussed in the changes, and I just want to talk briefly about that as to what a qualified inspector is. Well, qualified means that they have the background, they have the knowledge of the principles of erosion control and management of the offsite of the discharges. And EPA now has a set of modules and an exam that will establish a qualification to be a qualified inspector under their construction general permit. And that's from EPA. And it's about 40 questions. And I think it's good for 4 years, I believe is how that works. And so I think that's a major move forward. We're just, kind of getting into that. Some of our staff have already done that and have completed that. Now, there are other options. You can go to CISEC, you can go to environmental cert, you can go to the Oklahoma Water Survey, you can go to GRDA is offering something this month, others. And so you can get to the road that you want to travel to be certified. Now, to go back to Viral Cert or CISEC, those things have an annual fee and they have continuing ed requirements. And so that's up to the individual. And I have 2 of those, but I've just completed that. And you have to do a continuing ed. It's like your PE license or, doctors or lawyers or pharmacists or whatever have you, whatever profession you're in, you have those kind of requirements. Juliet. Okay, these are our industrial group, and we have 5 district engineers and a unit clerk. They're all pretty experienced, and so we split up into the districts and counties to have some kind of balance. As you might expect, the Oklahoma City Metro and Tulsa Metro really have a lot of things going on. So, but the industrial facilities complaints and everything that we do is under this. Now, we spend most of our time on CEIs, which are for major facilities, million gallons or more discharge per day, generally speaking, for industrial users that are in non-pretreatment cities. And in the last 2.5 years, going on 3 years now, we've chased growers extensively. We've really chased growers, and we just get a lot of those things, and doesn't seem to be any let up in that from the time that was established by vote of the state question, and it was established in the health department, and it just needed to move out of there because they're not a regulatory agency, and the legislature is seeing that created they passed legislation that moved that. But I'll just say this, there's some like 7,700 plus licenses that have been applied for or issued or whatever that they have control over at the Medical Marijuana Commission. And we have about 17 or 18 of those people that have got authorization under the general permit for marijuana growers by DEQ. So you can just kind of look at that and figure out where we are on that. We continue to do that. And these folks have industrial stormwater and they have construction now too. Kilo. Every now and then I get involved in my business, and I usually end up makes me kind of sad, like, if I have to deal with fiber or NMS, makes me sad. And so I went to outreach on our website, and it had my name and my number there, which was a surprise to me. Because I didn't know that the agency had assigned those responsibilities per se to our group. But we do outreach. It's kind of an ad hoc basis. And we don't have dedicated staff. We just showed the district engineers. You saw that. So to do outreach, there are various ways to do it. You can do it in person. You can do on-site. You can do tailgates, like safety training on a tailgate on a construction site. conceivably, we could use modules, and EPA has some of those things. You could do it by Zoom. You could do it by MS Teams if people have MS Teams. You can do it by Zoom, but we have to go and have that authorized. So that's kind of interesting. How do you take limited resources and do that outreach to provide the coverage that you should cover, give the information to the applicants or to the permittees. What I would really hope is that DEQ could partner like some of the other states do. Kansas has partnered with KSU. They have a branch at McPherson, I believe it is. Not sure. And North Carolina's had this for a long time with North Carolina State. But that's beyond something that I could do. Right now, we have to try to come up with some kind of outreach that would be suitable for our permittees with what you have. Okay, that's kind of like the lightning round of enforcement that we do. And I would just say this about that situation. I travel every day the Centennial Freeway. That's how I get to work. I turn off and I come in on 6th Street. And there are motorcycle policemen there, but they're not there all the time, and they're not there most of the time. But when they are, they have pulled people over and they're flagging them for speeding. And that's enough that I watch very carefully. I don't want to have in the city of Oklahoma City, you're going to start at $172. That's the minimum that you're going to get. And I watch very carefully over there. And I think with the limited resources that we have, we're kind of like those people. We're not there all the time. We're not there most of the time, but we're going to be there some of the time. And there will be things that will drive enforcement. And when we have to do enforcement, it includes administrative penalty for violation of our regs. And so, of course, there's due process that's involved. As I said, we have a great team of environmental attorneys, and we work very closely with them as a team to protect the environment and public health in the state of Oklahoma. Lima. Okay, I think that is as much as I have. And so I want to thank everybody for your attention. I'm nearing 30 years of doing this as a second career. I had 30 years as a first career, both of them very, very good. And so it's just a great opportunity. We leverage our time so much, and thanks to the city of Oklahoma City, they have a great program and they're great partners for us, like all the MS4s are. So thank you very much, and Rebecca, back to you.
Thanks so much, Wayne. Gosh, your presentations are always delightful. I found myself chuckling and really enjoying some of your song references, and gosh, it was great information as well. And Kimberly, I really appreciate your rundown of all the changes and everything in the OKR10. That was very beneficial as well. Wayne, you mentioned that it's the 25th anniversary of the DEQ. I think this week is also the 50th anniversary of the Clean Water Act. So congratulations on 25 years as an organization, and congrats to the U.S. for making good strides towards clean water. So
it sure is. That was 1972, and William Ruckelshaus was the first administrator of EPA.
oh, I didn't know that. That's great. Good information. Thank you, Wayne. Okay, well, I did not see any questions in chat. As a reminder, if anyone would like to receive a certificate of attendance for today's presentation, please be sure to send me an email to request it. We ask that you don't request those certificates in chat because we may not have your email address linked to your username on Teams. I posted my email address into chat again, and I've also just posted the website where you can watch a recording of today's presentation or any of the other presentations that you've missed. I'm going to share one thing else real quick. Get back to my screen. Okay, so sometimes our presentations are available in a few days, and sometimes it's the same day. So it just depends on when our public information officer is available to post those. So if anyone still needs to register for either the monthly webinar series or our quarterly newsletters, please reach out to me and I'll be happy to get you that information. You can also sign up for our newsletters and training announcements by pointing your phone's camera at the desired QR codes. Again, the only way you can sign up for either the construction or industrial training and education announcements is with the QR codes or a direct website link. They are not available on the Gov Delivery website. They are hidden there, but the Stormwater Quality Quarterly Newsletter is listed on the website. And we just sent the third quarter. Yeah, I think. I don't know. I think we just sent the third quarter one out. Yes, that last month. I'm trying to remember when we sent it. Anyway, if you have any questions about that or our newsletters, just let me know. Thank you all for attending today's session. I hope everyone enjoyed the presentation. I know I sure did. We hope to see you again next month, November 16th at 1 p.m. for the next installment in our series. That presentation will be provided by Monica Walls, the supervisor for our construction section here at the City of Oklahoma City for stormwater quality. She and her team will be presenting information on the challenges with construction sites. Hope everyone has a great afternoon.
Rebecca?
Yes.
Can you give me about 2 minutes here, quick?
Oh, for sure. And then we do have one question. Trish Morris with Silver Star wants to know if you guys are going to print those little booklets. They're so handy. The small books. I have my.
We actually are looking into that. We were looking into that today to figure out how we could print off a few of them for you guys.
Okay.
Because we've gotten a couple of requests and we thought it would also be a good idea. So yeah, we're working on it.
I keep my OKR05s and I've got an OKR04. But yeah, those are super handy. So yeah, just if you could let me know if you have some available. I know we would appreciate having a couple, and then I can try to get one to Trish as well, or get her a way to get that. So thank you. But yes, Wayne, please go ahead. A couple more minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah, we are gonna. We've thought of that, and we've done that in the past, and we want to repeat that. I just wanted to give a shout out to our corporate partners, like the NCAA as our corporate partners, and we wouldn't get very far in this whole stormwater program without our partners, who are the MS4 permittees, the communities and the non-traditionals who have an MS4 permit. And without COSWA, Central Oklahoma Stormwater Alliance, and the Green Country Stormwater Assembly Alliance that's in Tulsa. And they're just such great partners, and we work together with them. And I should have given a shout out to them in our presentation. It's just absolutely essential with the limited resources that we all have, that we work together to achieve some of these program goals. And like I said, I wanted to give a shout out to them. I should have included it in the presentation. I don't know why I didn't think of that, but COSWA and Green Country, they do so much, and they're just great partners, and they help us achieve our program goals. So it's very much a collaborative effort that we go into. And if we have success, it's going to be because we're together and we're pushing in the same direction. It's like they've changed the rules, and a running back tries to get across the goal line, and his lineman can come up and push him across the goal. You see that happen on Sundays. They push him across the goal line because they're all together pushing to achieve the goal. That's kind of what we're doing. I don't know if it literally you can say that, but it's very similar to that. So a shout out to Coswa and to Green Country. Thank you all.
Great. Well, thank you, Wayne. I did post both of those websites into chat, so if anybody wants to stop by those websites to check out those resources, feel free. And we got a question about wastewater licenses. I can get with you later on that one, sir. I will reach out to you because I think I have your email address. Anyway, great. Well, I don't see. Oh. Okay, perfect. Kimberly looks like has
Yeah,
responded
sorry,
to
I
your
was
question.
I was trying to find his phone number.
Oh, yeah. I usually reach out
uh,
to Gretchen, but
oh yeah, or Gretchen, yeah. Pretty much anyone in operator certification would be good. So.
yeah. I think I got an email from her today. Let me see if it has her phone number in it.
Brandon Tyler is the new manager at 702. Believe it's 8250. We kept his old number.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have her phone number. So great. So thank you. Appreciate that. Cool. All right. Well, if anybody else has any questions, please feel free to type those in the chat. Kimberly and Wayne, if you would hang out for just a few minutes. Everyone else, thank you so much for joining us. Have a great afternoon, and we'll see you next time. We'll hang out here for just a few more minutes in chat to see if there's any questions.